Mythmakers for the Wii. Now, I know what you're saying. You must be saying, well, it's not Mythmakers. It's Mythmakers Super Kart GP for the Wii. Now, let me tell you something else. This game, the only original part of it is this blue disc. I mean, that is Avatar blue right there. But, as you can see when we start up, it has some nice, 2D character art. Clearly, this game is going to be a spin-off of some sort of Mario Kart, if you couldn't tell just by looking at the cover. Now, in all seriousness, this game is not the worst I've ever played, but it's definitely not in the top 10. So once you start, you get a nice little 2D loading screen with what appears to be a bunny, a pumpkin, and some sort of orphan child. And then you can select between multiple save files. You have the option of Start Race, you have Options, Profiles, and Credits. Upon reading how to play, because you can read how to play, the controls seem to be very simple. You have to hold your Wii Remote sideways. By pressing the 2 button, that is how you're going to drive, go forward. If you wanted to go into reverse, you would have to press and hold 1. And A seems to just be for toggling the camera. And as you can see here, the basic concept of the game is to race, collect stars, and unlock more characters as you unlock more stars. So we just jumped right into it. We started a quick tutorial race, and apparently we automatically get selected to be Saint Nick himself. That's right, the Claus of Clauses, Santa Claus. Now, for some reason, I'm Santa Claus on a go-kart, and I'm racing. Honestly, if I had to rate this game just on this scene alone, solid 10 out of 10. Solid 10 out of 10. But apparently we're just practicing by racing a scary witch lady while dressed as Santa Claus and also bumping into every nearby object we can see. The controls are rough, to say the least, and if you go the wrong way long enough, it just teleports you back to where you are. No Mario Kart guy in the cloud, just back to start. But after you do eventually complete that and learn the controls, you can start a single race. And obviously we're going with beginner, because if I thought the tutorial was challenging, boy oh boy. But you can choose between Trixie, the bunny. You can choose between Old Saint Nick, Santa Claus himself, Zol Strike, the demon, or Jack, which is just a dude wearing a hockey mask that's pretending to be a snowman. Now, believe it or not, this is a multiplayer game. You can have up to 4 players join you. I don't know how you would manage to keep 4 friends from playing this game, but if you did, they could all play. Now, this is going to be our first intro into a actual race with other people. And I obviously chose Jack because the fact that I can look at his white head makes it all worth it for me. But it's very simple. There's no boosted start like you have in Mario Kart. It's you press 2 and hope for the best. And it looks like you can dodge obstacles, you can collect stars, and the blue, floaty, untrademarked question mark boxes must be the power-ups. Now, as you can see here, we can collect stars, which do nothing for you in-game, but outside of a game, it just unlocks those extra characters for us down the road. Although you need 200 of them, and I don't plan on spending more than 20 minutes playing this game. Now, upon receiving the power-up, that's how you have to use it. You have to punch with the controller to use the power-up. Punch. Punch, punch, punch. While also trying to steer, which leads you into this spiral of a trying to race while also using a power-up, which you're pretty much hip-checking your gosh darn monitor while trying to steer this cart at the same time. It's orbital controls, and it tells you you have to hip thrust to use a power-up. What if my grandma wanted to play? You're telling me she has to throw haymakers? Haymakers to play the game? And on top of it, if you hit A, it switches you into first person. As if this game wasn't confusing enough, imagine doing it while you can't see a gosh damn thing. Because, that makes sense. But, all things considered, it's not the worst game I've ever played. Upon using power-ups, you have a zoom, you have an attack, and although I didn't do great the first level wave, I did place 4th, which is not bad, with a time of 1 minute and 13 seconds, and I collected 15 stars. Although, Saint Nick, for some reason, is on the top of the leaderboard, which Can't happen again. So obviously, now that we got a basic concept of how to use power-ups and how to steer a little bit better, we can select our characters. One thing I noticed is that if you check the character, they all have different speed and steering stats. And that's why we picked Trixie, because she seemed to have the best speed and the best steering. And, I gotta be honest with you, nothing's changed. It's exactly the same. And, first person is just as bad. Although the bunny ears are nice, who doesn't love being a nice rabbit? But it's not a bad game altogether. You can definitely tell around the corners that Trixie, as opposed to Jack, has some better handling. But I mean, boy oh boy, this is probably the biggest spoof off of Mario Kart I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you might as well just call this Mario Kart and then cross out Mario, because this is just Kart, baby. And after playing with Trixie, we went from 4th to 3rd. That's a podium, baby. That's a podium, and you know it. Now, if for some ungodly reason you, the viewer at home, decided you wanted to own this game, it is only $4.97. $4.97. I mean, that is a steal. But in all seriousness, if I had to rate this game on a scale of 1 to 10, the graphics are probably like a 5. The gameplay is probably also a 5. Playability, 4. And fun, time played, probably like a 4 as well. So I mean, across the board, it's a pretty average score. We're gonna call this a 5 out of 10 completely throughout. It's not the worst game I've played, but it's definitely not the best game I've played. The controls are a little wonky, but it's still a fun game. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and if you want to see more like this, please just let me know. Thank you all. Take care.